I think when I think of Krejci, I think of just getting to watch him play, especially the 2011 run. Came up with some pretty big plays and moments, and that backdoor pass to Nathan Horton against Tampa. I think that one kind of comes to mind when I think of Krejci, and how he's just able to kind of slow the game down like that and make those plays and at the right moments and in big moments. But that's the one play that kind of comes to mind when I think of Krejci.
No, definitely. I loved in every situation where we had team parties and whatnot, being able to get a few moments to talk to him in those settings was really nice, because it was easy to open up in those moments and get to know him a little bit better. But his humor is like nobody I've ever met. His sarcastic humor is pretty incredible. And
we made that pass to Nathan Horton in Game 7. So again, as a fan, I wasn't even part of that organization yet, but just another guy who always stepped up in big times and was such a clutch player for the Bruins and all these cup runs. So that one sticks out for me.
I guess just getting to hang out with him on an off day. We had a double off day. He texted me, and we went and met up. We ended up having a long day together and had a lot of laughs. He ended up dressing up as Ted Lasso, and that was pretty funny. And that's a memory I'll always have, and I'm glad that I got to spend all that time.
Favorite catch memory? It was probably like first time I met him, because I've obviously like being around the team a little bit last year. You heard a lot about Krejci, a lot of Krejci stories, and it was just fun to be part of that and see him actually, like, he has those funny jokes. He doesn't really show that much emotions, and it's so funny, his humor. And but especially like early in the year, like some guys, we had some new people around there that wasn't really like used to it, and it was just funny to see him. He's cold as ice, go and say his kind of jokes, and he's kind of walk away and like see the reactions from people. And he's great guy. And
I think one of my favorite hockey memories of Krejci was during our 2011 run. We played Philly, and he scored an overtime goal. And the thing about Krejci, what is so special about him is he's the most calm player I've ever seen. And no matter the pressure situation or the time of the game, the momentum swings that are going on, he's always very, very calm. And I was laughing so hard at this. He scored an overtime goal, and it was as if nothing happened. He wasn't fazed at all. And I was like, this is unbelievable. If I scored an overtime goal in the NHL playoffs, I would be going bananas. And this guy was just like, it was another day at the rink for him. It was like he's playing ball hockey. And that's what I was like, okay, this guy is just a different breed. There's a reason why he's special, and he does what he can on the ice because his mindset is just like that 24/7.
Just any time spent with Krejci off the ice, he's one of the funniest people I've ever played with. And his sense of humor.
Krejci was one of those guys that you walk into a room for the first time being a young guy, and you got to do a double take because that's really him, right? He's such a presence, and the way he carries himself as a true professional is something that I always looked up to in him. And he's an all-out competitor. No matter what the stage of the game is, big or small, it didn't matter. He always came to compete, and he brought every teammate around him up a level, it seemed like. So he's one of the funniest guys I know too. So it's always good to have laughs with him, and just a really special individual.
Krejci is a person that for me at first was hard to read. Once you get to know the real David Krejci and you understand his humor and you understand how he is as a person, I get why so many people love him. And he is one of the best guys out there. And the way he, the same thing there, the way he carries himself, the way he jokes, the laughs, everything about him is, it's a lot of fun.
When I went for the first face-off with him on the ice, I think it was one of the first games, and we had set place after the face-offs, and he just said a random word that it is, and no one knew what it was, and I was like, Gretch, like what is it?
what are we gonna do? He was like, well, if you don't know, they're not gonna know. So just skate somewhere and do whatever because it's gonna throw them off. And I was so nervous. I was like, I'm playing with Krejci and Pasta first game. I don't know what to do. And just like that's just the player. He is the guy he is. You know, he's sarcastic sometimes, and he just tries to get sometimes these little jokes in. And I was just talking about with Pasta. He's like, yeah, he does it too. Every time there's a new guy, he just throws him off right away with this. And so that was a funny memory right away from the start of the season.
Probably his reaction after we won, you know. He actually had a hat too, like a Stanley Cup champion hat, and it was too big for him. And he just looked so funny. And yeah, just that joy and his smile, his eyes, the emotions. I think that's something I'll never forget.